Australia's Race Discrimination Commissioner Chin Tan has warned political leaders and the media to steer clear of making race the focus of the Voice to Parliament debate. He's given an interview saying, "The referendum by itself, from my perspective, from a human rights perspective, and from the jurisprudence point of view, is not about a race issue and ought not to be," he said. "But it will be by the way we characterise it. It will be by the way we promote it." Well, fancy that. A referendum to provide a body in our nation's constitution to advise on issues relevant to one racial cohort and consisting only of people of one racial cohort, selected by only people who share that racial attribute, is, according to Commissioner Tan, not a race issue. Well, thank heavens the Commissioner has set that one straight. He followed it up with, "The concern I have is when the debate degenerates into a more racialised discussion. That, for me, is always a dangerous sign. It's always never acceptable because it leads to something else. And it gives confidence to people to embark on a journey which they ought not to." The always never part is him, not me. He called for a very clear reflection, particularly by our leaders, about what they are saying and how they are saying it, arguing people should not be in danger of being attacked, vilified and stereotyped because of who they are. Here's the rub. What Commissioner Tan's really doing here is suggesting that anyone who mentions race in the context of this overtly race-based proposal is encouraging racial vilification. And in doing so, he is making a classic identity politics play to silence anyone who dares to harbour a concern about the wisdom of granting different democratic rights in this nation to different groups on the basis of race. By labelling anyone who enters this debate with a concern for racial division a racist, rather than someone committed to an Australia where all citizens have equal rights, he shames sensible people into silence and creates the false impression that everyone thinks it's a good idea. To label those people who wish to respectfully disagree on an issue that is plainly about race as being racists, accusing them of inciting vilification or encouraging attacks on people of other races, is repugnant. We need to be a nation that can talk about hard things without being labelled in this way. Johannes Leek captured what so many people are feeling right now in his cartoon for today's Australian. But thankfully, there is one Human Rights Commissioner in this country with her head screwed on straight. Human Rights Commissioner and eminent constitutional lawyer Lorraine Finlay has argued the proposed change, quote, inserts race into the Australian Constitution in a way that undermines the foundational human rights principles of equality and non-discrimination. Well, I guess that means the Race Commissioner would cast his labels on Commissioner Finlay, despite the fact that her comment is anchored in fact and respectfully expressed. Commissioner Tan can't expect Australians to sign off on a mechanism to provide different democratic rights for some Australians on the basis of their race without talking about the R word. It should be done politely and with genuine care for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Australians, because that's how we treat other human beings with respect. But on no day of the week should we simply avoid the subject or pretend that this referendum isn't about race. We serve no one by hiding from the truth here. And the truth is that the no case is deeply moral. It affirms the fundamental human right that we are all equal, that we should all have the same rights before the law and in our democracy. A no vote rejects the idea that we should treat one another differently based on the colour of one's skin or the cultural background that we come from. It affirms what we all raise our children to believe, that it's what's on the inside that counts. My encouragement to you is to prove Commissioner Tan wrong by engaging in all of the issues of this debate, which has matters of race at its very core, genuinely and with care for Indigenous Australians, no matter which side of the debate you are on.